Ciao, 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 ciao. Welcome. Thank you so much for finding me. I am so happy to plan your vacation to Italy, more specifically to Rome, Italy. So, welcome. I'm very happy to see you and help you to plan your vacation in Rome. First of all, we are coming here to Rome for 5 days, you told me, right? Yes, okay. You are going to Rome for 5 giorni. Ok, perfetto. I have your itinerary roughly planned out for you. We can make accommodations for you to stay, to sleep, recommendations, but my main purpose is to tell you some of the most important things to see and do when you visit Rome, and we will try to make a schedule for you to do the most important things in 5 days in Rome. I usually don't recommend to see Rome in less than 5 days, 4 maybe. I think 5 days for you is good. You have a lot to see, okay? Because this is your first time in Rome. Okay, first time, perfect, okay. I think that when you think of Rome, the first place that comes to mind is esattamente il Colosseo, perfetto, il Colosseo, okay. And because in Rome, Italy, there is many important things to see and do, but for me the most important for many tourists is to see the Colosseum. This is maybe the most iconic landmark in Rome. Okay, so it's your vacation is very important to see the Colosseum, of course. This was previously known as the Flavian Amphitheater, okay? This was built a very long time ago, you can imagine, 70 to 80 AD, okay? Very, very important for the gladiators, gladiatore, yes. Oh, you see the film with Russell Crowe? Perfetto, I love that movie. Okay, so we are going to find the Colosseum now. I recommend you can do this in any day you choose. So I do not set your tour day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, 5, but I recommend you see one day to see the Colosseum, okay? The most important for me is that you see inside il Colosseo anche because as you know, for the first time to see it is important even to see inside, okay? When you come back to Rome, because I know you will come back, you can skip to see inside the Colosseo, but it's really important, I think, for a first visit. Okay, perfetto. So you are interested to see the Colosseo e anche il Roman Forum. Yes, okay. So we can do a vacation for you that we book you a tour. Now I have a tour. It's a pretty good price, a pretty good idea to do a skip the line tour, okay? So this means you do not have to wait in line. You show them your ticket and you go with a local guide and even a small group, okay? This is pretty important because you will see the two levels of the Colosseo, so your guide will tell you things about it, stories about Gladiatore, the battles, a little bit about the history of the actual structure, the Colosseum. So it's perfect, you will be very entertained. We have amazing guides, they all speak really good English. You will be happy. Okay, so I will find you the tour. Now this tour gives you a wonderful inclusion. So you have a skip the line tour to see the two levels of the Colosseo. It's a walkthrough. Takes less than 2 hours to do. But you also can have the option if you want to walk through ancient Rome. So the most important is that with this ticket you skip the line again to see the Foro Romano, the Roman Forum, yes. Roman Forum, Palatine Hill, and you have the tickets to see the ancient palace, temple, monuments. You talk about Cesare, Julius Caesar. Yes, your guide will explain. So it's very nice, very personal, and something you don't want to miss. So, should I go and put this in your itinerary? Okay, Colosseo, skip a line tour. Perfetto, okay. So you will see the Colosseo and the Roman Forum. We skip the line for Romano. Perfetto, Colosseo. Okay, I recommend you do this when you arrive in Italy. You can see what you want to see the first day you arrive. You will be very tired, very jet lagged, because the time difference is, yes, usually, okay? So I don't recommend to do anything plan your first day. It's maybe a nice idea to walk around. You can walk around areas near your Airbnb. I recommend for you, because it's your first time in Rome, that you stay in the center, as center as possible. A lot of tourists think that the Colosseum is a center, and of course it is, but it can be a little bit far to walk from Colosseum to, for example, the Vatican. Okay, so my suggestion for you is to stay in the area with the Pantheon, or Campo de Fiori, or Piazza Navona. Yes, that area is like you see the river Tiber River. It's in this section, so you can go up, you can go down. To the side, you are very central, and there is a lot to see. So for example, if you want to see Colosseo and you also want to see Vaticano, it's better to stay in the middle. So one day you walk here, you walk there, to stay very al centro, in the center. Okay, so for your first day, if your Airbnb is in the center, you can walk around, have a nice dinner, what you prefer. One thing to tell you is Italian people, we eat very late. So it's very common for tourists to eat earlier, maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, but in Italy we have dinner maybe like 9:30, okay? So, yes, okay. So I will make a note for you. Italian eat very late, so sometimes a restaurant is busy even very late hours, okay? So if you want me to help you reserve a restaurant, I can talk about that a little bit later, okay? But we will continue with the things to see. So if the first day you see some things in your area, I just want to make sure that you see all these things I recommend, and I will give you advice on what to see. So for one day you see Colosseum, Roman Forum, things like that. You are in this area. It is also close to Piazza Venezia. Depending on how tired you are, I don't know, but it is a good idea maybe also to see Piazza Venezia when you see Colosseum. Piazza Venezia is a famous piazza in Rome with the Altare della Patria. It's a beautiful white building, very, very fantastic. You can see a beautiful view of Rome. You can walk behind the building. You see some more of the, yes, esatto, the ruins of Rome. It's very beautiful. From this area, you are very close to Via del Corso, which is close to many other things. So, depending on you, how you feel, but I recommend in order. If you have time to see Piazza Venezia on this day, you can, or for the next day you see Piazza Venezia, and you also can walk to see Via del Corso, famous street in Roma for shopping, Yes, there are areas that are very VIP, for very expensive things, Fendi, Bulgaria, this store like this. It's very common. Also, we have the Spanish steps, Piazza de Spani, okay? The Spanish steps is a very beautiful area. Right now you cannot sit on the steps. We always in Roma change rules. So now if you sit on the steps, a whistle will blow and you will be told to stand. We don't make you sit anymore, but you can stand and take beautiful pictures. It's fantastic. There is fountains there. Rome is a city with many fountains everywhere, but perhaps the most famous fountain maybe in the world is Fontana di Trevi, okay? Di Trevi Fountain, yes, okay, so I write down Piazza Venezia, Via del Corso, Spanish Steps, but anche vicino, very close, there is Fontana di Trevi, okay? Usually Fontana di Trevi I don't recommend to see at the high afternoon in noon, because in the afternoon the sun is coming down on your head, it's very hot, very many tourists there, so you see before the afternoon or you see later in the evening. It's beautiful to see at night time, but one thing you cannot forget when you see the Fontana di Trevi is you must make a wish. So you take a coin, throw over your shoulder, and you make a wish, and this usually means you will return to Roma. Okay, so Fontana di Trevi, perfetto. So to see this in one other day is a lot, so you have already 2 days very busy, but these things for your first time, it's very important to see the main tourist attraction. It's very fantastic, okay? I write it down for you: Piazza Venezia, Via del Corso, Piazza di Spagna, Fontana di Trevi. Perfetto, okay. So if you are too tired, this for me is good. You can do these things all in a couple hours in the day, or a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening. It very much depends. In Italy, lots of times restaurants are closed from 2 to maybe 5 o'clock, because we take a pause at the break, okay? So you maybe want to eat breakfast, lunch, normal time, and dinner later, but in Rome we have a lot of street food. We are very popular for having pizza al taglio, so it's pizza by the slice. You can grab almost any time of the day. We have a fantastic gelato. I can talk about gelateria later, so there is a lots of things you can grab. If sometimes I think street food can be better than food in a restaurant, okay? In a ristorante. So we talk a little bit more about the tourist attractions. So imagine Colosseum, Piazza Venezia. From Piazza Venezia all the way down past Via del Corso is Piazza del Popolo. Piazza del Popolo is a very famous piazza with 2 churches. They are like gemelli, twins. Twin church, they look very similar, okay? Both the Chiesa, the Church of Santa Maria, okay? So they have, in this church, they have anche a famous painting with a Caravaggio, but they have these paintings in a lot of church in Rome, yes. So a very important thing to remember is that you don't have to just go to the Vaticano, the museum to see famous paintings. In Rome it's fantastic. A lot of people don't realize that even in a church you can find amazing artwork, even a church that maybe you don't even think to see, but they have fantastic artwork. It's incredible, really fantastic. So I have here, I'm going to add to your itinerary. I'm going to talk about it in 1 second, but sometimes I get excited, I get ahead of myself, but I talk about Caravaggio in 1 moment. But I want to mention, if you are in a Piazza del Popolo, so you have Piazza Venezia, Via del Corso, all the things to see, Piazza del Popolo here. In Piazza del Popolo, it's very easy to take a walk a little bit up and you are at Villa Borghese. Now, Villa Borghese is a very famous villa in Rome, Italy. This villa is very fantastic, beautiful, it's something to see. Now, if you are busy, you don't have the time to see the villa, it's okay, because you have a very busy trip to see, but it's worth it if you want a break from the city, if you are surrounded by lots of tourists, or you want a break. Villa Borghese is a fantastic villa. It's beautiful, and this is on 200 acres of land, okay? It has also the Porqueze Gallery. You can see there is option to take a bicycle in Villa Borghese. You can bicycle because it's a very big, it's a very, very big villa. Okay, there are sculptures by Bernini. There is a museum, like I said, lots of to see. It's very, very scenic, very relaxing, very lovely. So you can, I recommend, if you are in the Piazza del Popolo area, you can walk up the stairs and see the Villa Borghese, but you need time because it is a very big villa, okay? Now we talk about the area. No, before we talk about the area, we're going to talk about the Vatican, okay? Vaticano. Now, Vatican City is a city separate from Rome. It's the own city, but of course you don't need a passport or anything separate. It's home to St. Peter's Square, okay? So San Pietro is the famous iconic church of the Vatican. So you will see the Basilica di San Pietro. This is very beautiful. Sometimes the Pope comes from the balcony, makes a speech. It's the Vatican Basilica is separate from the Vatican Museum, the museum, okay? Lots of people maybe think it's similar, but it is different, okay? So you have St. Peter Square, you have the St. Peter Basilica, you have a little bit further, you have to walk, but you have anche the museum, okay? So I recommend, if you want to see the most famous church in maybe the world, you see this Basilica di San Pietro, okay? So it is very, very famous. Lots of very beautiful things inside. The architecture, decoration is fantastic. It's very considered one of the most beautiful buildings in the world, okay? The detail in the church is incredible. So you can also see works by Michelangelo, yes. So Michelangelo and Bernini. You can see their work in the dome, from anche the statue, sculpture, Gloria. Okay, it's very, very beautiful. So I recommend you to see San Pietro di Basilica, but it is free to enter the Basilica. A lot of people are surprised to find this out. It is free, but there is always a line. So expect usually 1 hour to wait, okay? Like every church in Rome, you must be fully covered. What this means is you have to have your shoulder area covered. You cannot wear tank top, and you cannot wear shorts or a skirt or things like this. A dress, you must have your shoulder and your knees covered to enter the church, okay? It's very important, even to enter some other building in Rome, like at the Pantheon. I talk about it soon, but you must be fully covered in that way. So if you have a t-shirt and your longer pants or a longer dress, you are okay. Just no shoulders or no knees. You can have this open, but you cannot have a shoulder showing, okay? Okay, perfect. So inside the church, like I said, no, you don't have to pay, you don't do a tour, but it is possible to have a tour guide. If you want, I can arrange for you now or later. It's possible to have a tour guide to show you the area of the St. Peter, okay? But the Basilica is free to enter. You can see on your own. You can go to see the catacombs underneath, okay? Where some very famous popes, yes. Okay, is that okay? Perfect. So if you want someone to explain inside San Pietro, I can organize a tour for you, but it is extra cost. If you enter, it's normally free, ok? Perfetto, ok. Same thing goes with the museo, the museum of the Vaticano, okay? This is where you can find the Sistine Chapel, okay? La Cappella Sistina, okay? Now, when you enter the museo, you have to pay. So you can buy your tickets the day before, or you can buy your tickets the day of. I recommend to buy before if you know what day you are going in the tour. Okay, so my recommendation for you is to see the Vatican City, so all of the Vaticano, so you see San Pietro, Vaticano. Yes, okay, to see in one day is fine, it's perfetto. If ever you have a day where it's not good weather, maybe too hot, raining, I recommend to see these things inside the museo, okay? Now the museo has 70,000 pieces of artwork over that, okay? So you can have 2 tickets you purchase, one to see the museo, one to see the Sistine Chapel, okay? It's a good idea to have time to see both, because it's very beautiful. The Sistine Chapel has the famous artwork. It's very, very beautiful, but cannot take any photographs, okay? Yes, they have lots of beautiful artwork, Raffaello, Caravaggio. Yes, fantastic, okay? Michelangelo, of course, yes. So, we do this for you. Separate tour to see Vaticano, Cappella Sistina, okay, Vatican Museum. Perfetto, okay. Okay, so if you have more questions, you ask me after, but I will move on with another day. I recommend for you to see in your area if you stay here. If not, you dedicate some time to see some things. Now, near the Vatican City, you have a Castel Sant'Angelo, okay? This is a very famous castle in Rome, Italy. It's beautiful. This is where one time the emperor had a mausoleum, okay? And this is very popular once the Pope during the war hid in this castle. So Castel Sant'Angelo is like a fort, and it is, well, it once was the tallest building in Rome, Italy, okay? So it's very beautiful to see. It's very close to the Vaticano. So if that day you have time, you can see. If not, you see Castel Sant'Angelo, and then very close is Piazza Navona. Piazza Navona for me is one of my famous, for me favorite, preferito square in Rome, okay? In Rome, the square is called Piazza, so this is Piazza Navona. It was built in the 15th century, and it was very, very popular. It's very close to Fontana di Trevi anche, which you might see, but it's also very close to the Pantheon. For me, Piazza Navona is fantastic, and in this piazza, very close, is a very famous place to take aperitivo, okay? Yes, it's very popular, okay? So, I will write down Piazza Navona. Okay. In this piazza, it's very common for people to ask you, come sit here, sit at this bistro, sit at this restaurant, but very close by, I recommend if you want to take a drink, you go to Terrazza Borromini. This terrazza is like a very famous spot to have a drink, aperitivo, aperol spritz, what you want, and you see a very beautiful view of Rome, Italy. It's fantastic. You see the view of the piazza. In the distance you see Rome. It's very fantastic. So I'm going to write this down for you. If you are in Piazza Navona, I recommend to have aperitivo, but in this area, okay? So at the night time we have Piazza Navona, Borromini, okay? Perfetto. But to see Piazza Navona, it's beautiful, I think, in the day or anche in the night. Now, I was talking to you about Caravaggio. very vicino Piazza Navona, there is a church. This church is called the Chiesa di San Luigi dei Francesi. Okay, inside this church there is a very famous painting of Caravaggio. So if the Vatican Museum is not enough for you, you can see a Caravaggio painting, okay? So it's very popular. I will write Chiesa San Luigi dei Francesi, very close to Piazza Navona, okay? Okay, so you can see the famous painting of the Caravaggio in that chiesa, okay? Okay, so we have so far almost everything to see main tourist. Now in the area of Piazza Navona, very close, is Campo de Fiori. This Campo de Fiori is a very famous piazza, and in this square, in Campo de Fiori you can find the market during the daytime, so early you find a market with selling things like fresh produce. You can find things like drinks, food, flowers, because it's called Campo de Fiori. You even have people selling flowers. It's very beautiful. Campo de Fiori is a very pretty area, so I write it down for you because it is so close to the Pantheon and this area here. So Campo de Fiori, I make a note. And finally we are here at the Pantheon, just like the very famous church in Rome, okay? Most famous churches, they require shoulders and the knees covered. The Pantheon is the same, okay? So you must make sure to have this covered. Now, Pantheon is a very beautiful building. The whole piazza is stunning. In the Pantheon is considered one of the most best preserved ancient Roman buildings. Okay, yes, very famous. It was built in 118 AD, okay, by the Emperor Hadrian, and actually it's very well preserved, even more than the Colosseum. So this dome is fantastic. There is in the center of the dome the hole in the building. You see the sky. It's very fantastic. Very something to see. This is in the Piazza della Rotonda, okay, because it's very round, and the Pantheon is a very important building to see. I write it down for you. The Pantheon, okay? So in this area with the Pantheon, you have a Pantheon, a Campo de Fiori, Piazza Navona, and Castel Sant'Angelo, very close. Everything in Rome is very close, but depending on where you are, you can walk or you can even take a taxi. It's not a problem. Now, this is the main tourist attractions. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 busy days to see these things. I recommend when you are in Rome, maybe you dedicate the sera, the evening, or maybe you dedicate one whole day to just get lost in Roma. Don't be worried to see things, because as you walk, you will find naturally, okay? So the saying all roads lead to Rome is very true, because you walk anywhere and you suddenly find yourself in the center of Roma. But if I can recommend a good area to see, looks very characteristic of Rome, looks very beautiful, tourists like this area. You can even stay in this area, get an Airbnb, but I recommend for you to stay more in the centro. But a very famous area in Rome is Trastevere. Trastevere is considered to be one of the few places in Rome where you see a very authentic experience of Rome, and you see how the people live. It's very beautiful. Now a lot of tourists are catching on to this secret spot, and it's very popular. Okay, so it has a very cobblestone road. It's very hard to walk in Itaki, so in high heel shoes it's almost impossible, so forget it. But it has a lot of good ristorante, cafe, bar. You can get cappuccino, coffee, you can get a gelato. very beautiful. You can also find lots of people, young people getting an aperitivo, a drink. You sit on the street and you watch the tourists. There is a fountain in Piazza Santa Maria in Trastevere where they are have people doing a night show. It's very, very fun, and I recommend a lot of good restaurants in Trastevere area, okay? So if you want to have a very authentic experience, I'm going to write Trastevere, Piazza Santa Maria in Trastevere. There is a church here if you want to see lots of beautiful church, chiesa. In Trastevere there is in Roma there is two things very common: church to see and fountains. So you can see this in Trastevere anche. Okay, so I recommend you to have a beautiful gelato. One of the famous places is to have a gelato at Gioiliti. I will write down Gioiliti. Okay, it's very close to the center of Rome, not too far from, for example, the Trevi Fountain. Okay, it's just very close to that area. It's a very delicious gelateria. There is a lot of good pizza al taglio, for example. There is a cafe, even a restaurant, but this place it's a bakery, a forno. It's called Roscioli. I write down Roscioli for you to have a delicious pizza al taglio. Okay. There is a wonderful restaurant. So for example, I say in Trastevere you eat very good. There is a place called Daenzo 29, because 29 is 29, it's the street name. You eat very good in Daenzo. If you want a very VIP experience to have good cafe, bar, we call the place where you have an aperitivo, a drink, sometimes we call a cafe, but it is a bar, what you call a bar. You can have a beautiful drink at this place called the Court Rome. So I write down the Court. At this place is similar to the other place in Navona that I recommend. This place has a beautiful view of il Colosseo, the Colosseum, okay? So you have a drink and the Colosseo is basically in your view. You see wonderful, perfetto di Colosseo. Sometimes the restaurants in this area are very much for tourists. The place where you see the most tourist attraction is a tourist restaurant. So to eat good, sometimes you walk far, but for example, to get a drink at the Corso Rome is a fantastic recommendation. I recommend to you, okay? Maybe next time we can go over a restaurant, a place for have a good breakfast. We can talk about the famous dish in Rome, carbonara, things like that. But for now I want to plan a proper trip with the most characteristic tourist sites to see in Rome. Now this is a lot of things to see. I'm going to repeat everything. You have Colosseo, okay? The Colosseum, Roman Forum, skip the line pass. You have Piazza Venezia with Altare della Patria. You have Via del Corso, Piazza de Spani, the Spanish Steps, Trevi Fountain, Fontana di Trevi, Piazza del Popolo with Santa Maria Chiesa there. You have Villa Borghese if you have a time. You have Pantheon, Campo de Fiori, Piazza Navona, Castel Sant'Angelo. You have Vaticano, Basilica di San Pietro, okay, St. Peter's Church, Museo, Vaticano, Sistine Chapel, and even Trastevere with the Tiber River very close. There is in Trastevere near, if you go in the summertime, they have the bancarellis, all the shops downstairs where they sell a drink, souvenirs. It's very beautiful to walk down to Trastevere to see the bancarellis at night time, but we talk more about these things on another time. But so far, are you happy with your trip? I'm very happy to go over your experience here. I very much apologize. I know I talk the whole time, but I want you to get as much information as I can, okay? So I will send this to you in your email. this is your rough itinerary with the things to do, enough things to fill up your 5 full days in Roma. And of course, if you want next time, if you like, if you give me a thumbs up, next time we can talk about the Roman classic food, the classic things to eat, maybe where to eat, where to get a good gelato, a very good carbonara pasta, okay? But until next time, I hope that you are satisfied with the trip I planned, with my recommendations, with my booking for some things like skip the line pass and things like that. Okay, is it perfect? Okay, I am very happy to see you going to Rome. You have a smile on your face, so I know your first time in Rome is going to be very special, especially if you see all of these things. But please do not get stressed out if you don't have time to see some things on this list. It's just another reason to return, okay? Perfetto, okay. I will email you your itinerary. We will maybe plan an email after you take a look. Some days to do the certain things. I will book your skip the line pass, and you tell me if you want any other tour guides to see, any other areas of Rome. But I think this list for you first time is perfetto, okay? Okay, well, grazie mille, thank you so much, and I'm very happy to see you. I hope you have the rest of the day fantastic, and I really look forward to see you again. Okay? Fantastic. Ciao,